I think music education is really important in my line of work. I'm a performer. I think that in Australia, in order for there to be more places for us to perform, we need our society to understand how we can all be involved in music. Therefore, more people might go out and listen to music and be more appreciative of music. I'm a percussionist, so the students play percussion instruments with me. I think that's really good because most percussion instruments, you shake it, you scrape it, you hit it, and you get a sound, and you get that sound instantly. You don't have to sort of worry about how you actually hold the instrument. You can just pick up a mallet and you can hit the instrument and you get a nice sound. And that's a really good place to start for a lot of these students because a lot of them have never played any musical instrument before. So we started by showing the students how to play the instruments, and I did that through them performing the really big piece that took a whole term to kind of learn. And they used their own ideas in the piece. We used the Willy Wonka story as our inspiration for the piece, and that's why it has that little bit of a theme from the actual show in there. We did a lot of improvising. And then at the end there, the really big drumming bit, a couple of the guys brought that in. It's a drumming piece that they play at weddings from the Middle East. We pretty much end every class with playing that drumming and the guys doing a lot of sort of hooting and hollering and squealing and singing the song and all of that sort of thing, so it's a lot of fun. What I was working on today is in the syllabus, and it's just my take on some of the things that the students have to do. They need to listen to the sounds that are around them in the world and then organise those sounds in some structure. So I used David Hewitt's piece Within the Rainforest because I think that's a really good piece that sounds like a rainforest, and it also models to them how music can take you somewhere. In class we've used different things to inspire pieces of music. So what I thought we could do today is to make a story, a sound story of some of the things that we know from every day. We're just trying to create a feeling or a place or a story with the instruments. So they came up with their own stories or places or feelings and then talked about what they or how they were going to create that on the instruments and then performed it.
When Cameron gets the students to perform, it really does help with their confidence.
I feel nervous and when I get used to it, I get happy.
Cameron and Mr. Green told us to enjoy it, so I enjoyed it, and then that time I didn't get nervous.
I get brave, but I don't get scared.
They loved being on stage. They were sort of really excited to get on there and do their thing. And you can see them really focusing on playing the instruments as well, so there's a lot of focus there.
So I think it's a pretty unique thing that they've never had to do or been able to do before.
The parents were so overwhelmed by just what they could do.
See them sort of puff their chest out and say, look what I've done and that sort of thing. Really inspiring, I guess, is the only word for it, really.
We've always felt that there wasn't enough training through the university courses for teachers to come out and really delve into and teach a really wonderful music program. And that's one of the reasons that we wanted to get involved and applied for the grant with Musica Viva.
I am not wholeheartedly confident in teaching music.
I play a little bit of guitar. Probably the only music training I've had is what I've done at universities.
I had a reflective session with the teachers toward the end of the year. It seems that a lot have taken on board some of the ideas that I've been going through with the students. Some of the games and things like the way that music can just be created on the spot. They feel that some of the things that I've done they would be able to do themselves in the classrooms.
I think what Cameron's class has really shown is that that anybody can teach music. Like, it doesn't need to be someone from a musical background necessarily, but you can incorporate elements of music into everything you do.
When we're walking, we're going to play along with me.
I've often wondered, you know, how do I start to introduce these kids to these musical concepts? And he's just got a really great way of integrating everything into the one lesson. He'll have kids playing the musical instruments who have a composition task, you know, body percussion, you know, singing, and it's sort of all part and parcel of his lesson, which is interesting for me.
Music doesn't have to be really about what sounds good, but it's just about expressing yourself and getting the kids to integrate music into everyday life. I think that's what I've learnt.
So I think people have really started to get a lot more confident with teaching music skills in their classes. What I've noticed is all of the students, regardless of what background they're from or regardless of how they feel about school and how they approach learning, are really engaged, which is really exciting, because that's what you tend to strive for as a teacher, high levels of engagement and students understanding and building connections with their work. So
I do see a bigger focus in the classroom. They're taking on what they've learnt with Cameron, and they're bringing that into the classroom with me. When we were just sort of getting started with the instruments, they weren't as focused as they are now, and to see that progression's been really great. It has brought a change in the kids' understanding and love for music.
Whether they've played before or had any idea of playing before, it doesn't seem to matter. They seem to be wanting to get deep into it and try as hard as they can. We had one child where some other students played their piece and he actually cried. You know, it was so strong, the piece of music that they came up with. I mean, it was developed around an emotion, and the piece had that emotion flowing out of it everywhere. And this other student just let sort of go. And, you know, things like that have been really incredible.
I would recommend getting involved with Musica Viva to try and get that program into schools. I believe that music will have a positive impact on the academic studies of the students who are engaged in our program.
The students, they're definitely more inspired into music than what they were at the beginning. Some of them have said to me, "This is our favourite class, it's even better than swimming."